something very special there about New Zealand in a way that you can't really describe, just this inherent passion that Paddy had for the All Blacks. There's still that influence, there's still a massive legacy.
Nice to meet you guys.
Andrea Harrower from County Down in Northern Ireland. Rugby family through and through. My dad and my brother always been a sporty family, you know, whatever the sport was, but my brother started playing rugby when he was 5-6 years old, played the whole way through school at the same school that my eldest boy Fraser played rugby for, the same school that my husband coached rugby in, and my dad played rugby when he was a boy and is still heavily involved with his own son, who doesn't play anymore and plays a bit of tag rugby, but with the grandchildren now.
Leading out the All Blacks.
So it was the 1990s, and I guess that's when the first ever Rugby World Cup had been in 1987. 1990s was all of a sudden the All Blacks were on the scene, and you had this gargantuan figure of John Olumu and things like that. My husband had played rugby all his life. He had started refereeing in the 90s then as well, and he just, as soon as the All Blacks came on the scene, he just loved, you know, more than just the actual rugby and the rugby skills and their training ethos. It was but their whole ethos, how they were off the pitch, discipline, respect, all those things that you can apply to any part of life.
So whenever we were growing up, our dad was always very, he was really into rugby, and that's where it all came from. And I like the ethos behind the All Blacks, so it's all just that just stays with me. They should respect everyone, which you don't get with everything.
We've got Alex, who will support All Blacks over anybody. Paddy and I and Fraser, you know, it's Ireland, but if you're not supporting Ireland, you're supporting the All Blacks.
What's it like having a brother that's an All Blacks fan?
I mean, have to put up with it. Obviously after the World Cup that hurt a lot.
After the quarter-final last year and I came into school, everyone was just in a really somber mood because everyone lost, and I was smiling from ear to ear, and they were all confused about why I supported the All Blacks.
I have this card here, and I think this explains probably in a way that the two boys don't realise how much the All Blacks was always a part. It was something they grew up with without even really knowing. This is a Christmas card from the New Zealand Rugby Union to my husband in 1998, and that was our first Christmas in the house that we're still in. Pictures around the house, framed pictures with class slogans of the All Blacks, and these labels like, you know, one size doesn't fit all, or there's jerseys are meant to make you feel warm, there's one jersey that makes you shiver, things like that up around the house. The first cat we had was called Kiwi, so I feel like the boys were born into that before they even knew it. So Paddy died in July 2022, and we had been together since 1990. He wasn't unwell, and it was a shock diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, and he died 14 weeks later. So pancreatic cancer is something, unfortunately, I knew a bit about it to the point where when he was given the diagnosis, I knew there was no chance. I didn't think it was going to be that quick, but because my sister's best friend died of it 6 years before that. So pancreatic cancer is something, it's one of the small cancers that goes under the radar and very little is known about. So we became involved shortly before Paddy died, like a few days before he died. My sister and I said to him, what do you think of, you know, trying to do something to raise awareness about pancreatic cancer, raise funds for pancreatic cancer. And Paddy, rugby obviously was the main love, but he also loved cycling as well. So we came up with a charity event to cycle around the circumference, the periphery of Northern Ireland, which my sister and I undertook in just 10 months after Paddy died. And that was for NIPANC, which is Northern Ireland Pancreatic Cancer. It gives a feeling of Paddy's death can never have been pointless. And you know, something good. He wanted, his words were, he wanted something good to come of something tragic, and it certainly has, and it's ongoing. It's now become an annual event. We went travelling to New Zealand in 1997. Obviously, massive All Blacks era and the beginning of that. And then he went back out to New Zealand after we travelled for 6 months, and he refereed in Christchurch. We had said for the boys' lifetime that we wanted to take them to New Zealand. So it was something that the four of us were meant to do together. We decided probably 6 months after Paddy died that we were going to go ahead and do it anyway. I mean, within, I think, half an hour, Fraser said, "I already understand what you and Dad were talking about."
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was an amazing trip. I loved it. Both South Island and North Island we did. My favourite sort of area would have been the Christchurch and Queenstown.
Christchurch, obviously, very special to us, given our dad, and well, given we got to watch the Crusaders and meet them, so just, yeah, that stays with you.
It's easier now than it was. It was really difficult the first rugby season after Paddy died. Fraser was playing his first ever senior club. His dad's not there to watch him. Alex is going into a really special medallion school year, which was very much, you know, even in sort of final few hours, last conversations with Paddy was something that I really struggled with, that he wasn't going to see them. I guess typical Paddy was when you know, you've only 48 hours to live or whatever it was. And again, I'm going, oh, you're not going to see Alex do this, you're not going to see Fraser do that. And Paddy's like, I don't need to know. I don't need to know that they're going to be successful and win the cup. I don't need to know that Fraser's going to go to senior rugby and make a name for himself. He said, I know they will enjoy rugby, and that's all I need to know, that they're going to enjoy it. I don't need to know about success of it. You know, there's still that influence, there's still a massive legacy. The charity work with NIPANC has propelled that charity to a next level that they thought would not be happening for another 15 years. So in the really tough times, I just have to focus on the fact that his death is making a difference and will make a difference to so many other people. The legacy, the things that I see in the boys, those ethos and values of the All Blacks even, that I see in the boys and think, well, happy days, I've got an easy parenting job here because they're already in them, you know.
That's probably where we got our passion for rugby from. Even the earliest memories I have of him, it was rugby. Everything was just rugby. The All Blacks, it always derived from our dad.
So yeah, the inherent things are nice. Yeah, they're nice, they're comforting at times. At other times they're really hard to take and it makes you angry a bit that, you know, why did it have to happen and things like that. But the legacy is why it has happened, I guess.